By the way, so Simone Biles, I don't know if you've been following this while we're talking about the FBI.
She's the one that the Nassar fingered.
Yeah.
Wow, did I say that wrong?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But pointed out.
Pointed out.
You know what I meant.
In a lineup.
Yeah.
Right. Although it's pretty easy to point her out because, like, she's a gymnast. And so they're like, is it the one, hold on, we have, is it number 1, number 2, or 4, or 5? Like, it's the one who's not 5 foot.
There we go.
Yeah, it's the one who's stretching with her feet behind her head.
Yes. Has chalk on her hands. So Simone Biles and 90 other women right now filed federal tort claims against the FBI. They are seeking $1 billion in damages. This is that, Nassar abused them after allegations were reported in 2015. So it's important to note that there were allegations. This is something that was going on. Nothing was done. And then abuse continued to take place. That is important because I do think it's tough to go after the FBI and just say, why didn't you do anything? And I say, how could we know? In this case, it's like, how could we know? Because we told you, and then it kept happening.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I do see your point. They didn't say that. Of course not.
Mm-mm.
They're claiming, well, what do you expect us to do? Like, investigate? It's in the name.
Just because we had the proof.
Yeah.
What were we supposed to do? Stop them?
Right. I mean, we're busy investigating arson.
Come on.
Yeah.
How am I going to figure out if this is a fire if I got to stop that guy from having sex with people?
I mean, it's like...
What am I, God?
What do you think? I only have 2 hands.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
One of them's occupied. I usually switch off.
One of them got to turn the computer on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, my God. Did we have a clip of
that Juergens isn't going to buy itself. Yeah, we do have a clip, by the way. This is going back. When was this clip? Is this clip from
2000?
2021. This is from 2021.
The testimony in the case.
And this was the testimony in the case that we covered, and now they're seeking $1 billion in damages. But here's pretty powerful testimony.
Over the past few years, it has become painfully clear how a survivor's healing is affected by the handling of their abuse. And it disgusts me that we are still fighting for the most basic answers and accountability over 6 years later.
To be clear.
Sorry.
Take your time.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse. USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee knew that I was abused by their official team doctor long before I was ever made aware of their knowledge.
Now, look, we want to find common ground. Here's the reason we can't is because if we sow mistrust in institutions, you blame us for sowing mistrust in institutions, whereas I think you should blame the institutions themselves. Look, I don't need to believe that the FBI is systemically racist. They also sexually assaulted white girls. They sexually assaulted biracial girls, Asian American girls, right? Just to be clear, there are a lot of women who were sexually abused. To understand a systemic problem with these institutions is simply to understand that they only look out for the interest of these systemic institutions. The FBI doesn't exist to serve you. The FBI exists to send in a spreadsheet at the end of the year and say, look at what a great job we're doing, boss.
Yeah.
No one wants to report. When the agencies are responsible for reporting, you can't count on them to report on themselves for mishandling.
Yeah. Who investigates them? I know that they have internal groups, but just to be clear, we covered the trial. This was kind of a rehash of the testimony to Congress saying, look, we blame the guy who did this, but we told you about this.
Yes.
We told you this was a problem. At best, the FBI is incredibly broken. That is the very best case scenario.
And here's the thing. When people say believe all women, I don't know. Have you spent time with a lot of women? You shouldn't believe all women. But in this case, where you have 90 who come forward and they say, this is what's happening now, they did it the right way. They came forward and they reported it to the authorities. Now, you can't blame rape culture for nothing happening. We've always said, if you are sexually assaulted, please, you need to come forward right away.
Yeah.
Make sure, because we want these people buried beneath the prison, actual rapists, actual people who prey on the young and the vulnerable. In this case, they did it the right way. They went forward. It wasn't in a Washington Post article. It wasn't a tweet. And the people, who, by the way, many believe should be the only ones with guns and those responsible for protecting us, did nothing for years. And this is something else. This doesn't just exist. These things aren't just siloed, okay? The FBI and the CIA, these 3-letter agencies, they have a long history of mishandling and outright committing what what we would call sex crimes, sex offenses themselves. So remember, the FBI ignored the child abuse on the Indian reservation, North Dakota, and they fired the whistleblower, Jane Turner.
There
right?
you go. That's
I think
doing, doing your job, right?
Yeah, this is a quote here from National Whistleblower Center. In retaliation for exposing FBI failures within its child program, Jane Turner was removed from senior resident agent position. 4 FBI agents had sex with prostitutes overseas and lied about it. Now, what about the CIA? I know sometimes they sort of bleed together in your mind, right? The past 14 years, there have been at least 10 CIA contractors who committed sex crimes involving children. Remember, we talked about this? One had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. 3 sexual abuse videos of young girls that were filmed by their mothers. And there was another who viewed more than 1,400 kiddie porn images while on assignment. Remember, these were on CIA computers.
Yeah. Such moron. Who are you hiring?
I use a VPN.
Yeah.
That's why we lost the sponsor.
Yes.
They're like, stop using it for that. And you're like, well, what's it for?
We can see that.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.